Hello everyone and welcome to Sendai. It might be your first time in Sendai or in Japan, and you must know that Japan is a country which faces a lot of natural disasters. At this time, it is important that you have all the necessary information about what you should do in case you are faced with a typhoon, which is an annual natural disaster which strikes this island nation. Now, the typhoon in Japan is actually very special in the sense it's the third largest number of typhoons in Asia every year fall upon Japan. At least 11 typhoons approach this Japanese archipelago and two directly impact the land. The season for the typhoon is usually from May to October, but it usually peaks between August and September. That's really the time when most of the typhoons will happen. You will have a lot of wet days, windy days, and a lot of other weather issues. Last year, there was a Typhoon Hachubus. From 1958, which is about 60 years, it was one of the largest typhoons ever to hit Japan. The winds actually covered half of the Japanese archipelago. It led to a lot of destruction of houses, and there were floods and landslides, lives were lost, property was lost. Typhoons all over the world wreak havoc. So it is very important that we have necessary information before a typhoon strikes so that we can save our lives and the property that we have. Now, this video shall be divided into three parts. First, what should you do before a typhoon strikes? Second, what should you do during a typhoon? And third, what should you do after a typhoon passes? Now, these are very simple logical explanation, so you should just think on the logical lines of what you should do when there is really a disaster. If there is no electricity, water or anything, what do you really need to have? If you think along these lines, it will be very easy and you will find most of the information available with you. Now, before a typhoon strikes, you should gather all information from TV, internet and weather forecast apps. You can download these apps from the internet or on the app store of your phones, or it is most of the cases it's pre-installed on your phones. During a typhoon, there could be power, gas or water outages, and you should really think what you need when an outage occurs so that you have everything and you are not really affected for a certain amount of time during an outage. You should shut all windows and shutters, lock your doors and windows, and remove all objects from the balconies and keep it inside so that they are not affected or destroyed by the winds or the strong rains. You should store enough water and batteries. You would need the batteries for your electrical appliances if in a case there is an electricity outage. You should store enough food such as canned food, instant noodles, rice, energy drinks and energy gel so that you can have enough nutrition and you don't starve during the time of an outage. It is also recommended that you have a health kit in case of an injury, fever, etc. Forbid if you have any kind of injury, you should have something for your first aid, and that will help you until you get some kind of professional medical help in a clinic or in a hospital. You should check if your radio receiver works because radio is one of the prime resources for getting information about the disaster. You should also check that your flashlight works because if in case there is an electric outage, you will have something to illuminate your room and your surroundings and see around. And you should also fill your bathtub with water because if in case there is a water outage, you will have some kind of water stored so that it can help you in the future for using that for any kind of purpose. Now, it is also recommended that you should prepare an emergency bag. You can actually see a lot of things listed here, but it is quite simple. Now, think of it as what you would need to consume. You would need your food, water, medicines. Second, what you need to charge. That's your electric appliances. You would need your chargers, your batteries, your portable radios, and a headlamp. Third, what you need to keep yourself warm and clean. You would need towel, blankets, wet wipes, and portable toilets. Yes, we do have portable toilets available in Japan, and it is very compact, very helpful in times of disasters. And finally, the miscellaneous, the whistle, map, and plastic bags, which can help you in storing things, sorting garbages, or if you are in case don't have your phone with you, you can look at a proper physical map and know about your whereabouts. During a typhoon, definitely the first thumb rule, do not go outside. Avoid going outside as much as possible. You should stay updated with the latest information from resources such as the Japan Meteorological Agency websites. They have information about the disasters in English. It is very helpful, and I would definitely recommend that you should use this source for disaster related information. You can use the NHK World News, which is the official information in English about Japan. 3. The Sentia Mail Magazine. I would discuss about this later in another slide. 4th is the Area Mail. Now this Area Mail is a broadcast message on your phones, which will be explained later on in this video. And 5, disaster applications, which you can download from the app stores or from the internet, and you can get all disaster related information during times like these. You should watch for possible flooding in the basement, and you should check for nearest emergency shelter. If in case you need to evacuate, you should know where you can evacuate and how far it is and what are the possible routes through which you can go from your house or where you are to the nearest evacuation shelter. You should stay away from flooded streets and downed power lines because the electric outages and the downed power lines could be fatal and harmful, and you should take care during times like these. The Sentia Mail Magazine. Sentia is actually the Sendai Tourism Convention and International Association, which publishes the mail magazine once or twice a month. But during a typhoon, it updates real-time information for 24 hours. So it's very helpful during a typhoon, and you can actually see all the information, what's happening in your place, in your surroundings. The NHK World News. Now NHK is a reliable source from which you can get your nationwide official information in English, and you can find all disaster related information, and you can use this as an important resource for what is happening around in Japan. The Area Mail. As I said before, the Area Mail is a broadcast message about disaster warning and evacuation information. So what it is actually it's a message with an emergency tone which is sent directly to the phones of people who are in potentially affected areas. So your phone will start ringing and then the message will be broadcasted. It will mostly be in Japanese, and you should check your status and follow the instruction written in the Area Mail. The emergency alert levels are actually divided into 3 types. 1 is a notification alert. At this time, you should prepare for the disaster, and if you are an elderly or if you have elderly people around you, it is highly suggested that they evacuate in advance because of the time they would take to move and the preparations. Second, in red, as you see, is the alert. You need to check the evacuation information and the disaster map near you. This point, you should know what is the nearest emergency shelter and what you would need and where you should go. The third is a special alert in purple. There is a high possibility that there is a disaster near you, and you should take the best actions to save your life. Now, as I said that the emergency notification is in Japanese, but you should be cautious when your phone starts to ring loudly. You should turn on the emergency notifications on your phone from the phone settings. And if your phone starts ringing loudly, you must realize that it is an emergency information, and whatever information is provided is important. Now, how would you find information about shelter or evacuation locations? If you're living in the university Sanju dormitories, you do not have to go anywhere but stay in your dorm. You can check the bulletin board or things like that. If you're in the University House Aobayama, you should go to the Central Park, which is right in the front of the management office. That is your evacuation zone. If you're in other university houses or international houses, please check the bulletin board or the guidebook. For people who do not live in the university housing, if you're living in private residences or other places, you should find the nearest shelter by using the Yahoo shelter map at crisis.yahoo.co.jp/map. It's a very resourceful website which will tell you about the nearest emergency shelters. After a typhoon passes, now that's when most of the disasters have gone by. But you should have patience and you must realize that sometimes a typhoon may blow back, so you should take necessary precautions and know necessary information about the same. You should check your surroundings, your body, house, road for any damages. In my case, I had my air conditioner damaged, so you should check that there is nothing damaged, you're safe, secure, and you have everything working in order. You should also check the latest information about the typhoon, again from the same resources such as the NHK, radio, internet, which would help you to gather information about the damage that has happened or what may come in the future. During this time, your classes and your lab duty might be cancelled in the university, so you should go to the Student Affairs Information System. You should check the latest notifications available there. You can log in through the system using the Secure Reverse Proxy SRP login. The fastest way to know is to check your Tohoku email, DC mail. You can set up that email on your phone. It is connected to Google Suite, so it is very easy to now navigate through your email. You should make sure that you can receive the emails, turn on the notifications for your emails, and you should check your inbox for all necessary information from the university about this. Finally, I really wish that you do not have to face any such of disasters, but if in case you have to, you have the information and you can take precautions and actions to save your life and those around you. I really hope you have a great time in Sendai and you stay safe. Thank you for your attention.